Hello friends, I am back and as discussed last time, we'll be discussing in this video that how we can implement lineage using Atlas going forward. So let's do a little bit of revision. So what does lineage means in term of software? So it is about where the data originated, what's happening to the data, and where it is moving over time. So trying to cover these three aspects of data is like understanding the lineage data. So now coming to the next part. So for an example, if you remember last time, we took a flow in which we saw a couple of pipelines that raw data was getting as input. So it was going through software one, then going for one query, then another query, then getting a report at the headquarters. And then we consider the case where over time those softwares were getting upgraded or the SQL queries were getting modified. So all those things were happening over the time, and we thought that and we discussed that best way of doing that was using lineage and covering things like what were the software versions involved, what were the type of columns and the related details. If we keep track of all those kinds of information, we can make this data more usable over time. For more understanding, you can see the previous video on lineage. So now coming to the aspect where how we will implement this in Apache Atlas. So by default, Apache Atlas supports two default types. They are dataset and process. They become very critical for this. You can have many ways, but I'm taking the default types as of now. So just taking the example of one of the pipelines that were there, if we saw, so this is the pipeline where raw data is produced, then it goes into software one, generating a report in format one, which goes into the next part SQL 10, another query, then creates a output of type format 3, then going into one more report and then producing this. So if we see clearly, all the data entries like I have marked in blue are of type data sets because that is actually data that is getting created. So raw data is a data. So it will be of type of data set, defining it because it is a data and it has a schema. So it's a data set. So all these entries with blue color are data sets, and all the entries in green color are processes because warehouse one actually takes the raw data and creates a report. Then the branch office takes the report from warehouse one and converts it into another report, whereas head office takes reports from different places and creates a furthermore report. So now going further, so how can we exactly do this? To map this pipeline into real Atlas, we have many ways, just taking one of the easiest examples. So what we can do is we can create an entity corresponding to each of the data that was created. So as you saw in the previous slide, there are three types that were there: raw data, warehouse report, and bench branch office reports. So I have created three entities, and you can create three separate files for each of them. And as you see, all of them are derived from dataset. So that is how we are using the derived function class behavior of Atlas. You can study in my video introduction to Apache Atlas, or I can later discuss in detail. So here we have defined that this type raw data, which is actually created uh, in the first warehouse, it will have a location and it will have a format from that where this data is actually saved and what kind of data it is. So that's why the format is array of strings, because each of the column will have a name. So similarly, the report will have a similar location somewhere that the report will be saved. We can have many for attributes. I'm just taking example of these two: location and then again format, telling us what are the different columns in that report. We can have further breakdown like what are the column types and all these, but for the example sake, taking only these two. Then going to the third entity type, that is branch office report. So similarly, it will have a format because it's a data set which will have a schema. So So you can rename all these three as individual files, and using the command syntax that I have shown below, this curl command, you can actually create these types into the meta server. So now, as our data sets are created, we move into the other part, the other things that were marked there in green. So those were the processes. So now it's time to create the processes. So if you remember my video of introduction to Atlas, so I had all these things like how to create a base process there, but still to cover up. So here we created three processes: warehouse process, branch office process, and head office process. Each of them are derived from the base class process, and we have added attributes like query, like what is the query that was used to generate it, what is the Perforce version of that query, and what software are we using in this case. So like who is creating that data, what is, so all that kind of information. So all on three of them. So then we will create a curl command or a post request for all of these things, and these process types will also be created. So as of now, we have only created types. There is nothing more in this. Only types are there. The data is not there. So we have actually created a structure for the pipeline, but we haven't created anything concrete as of now. So next step is, as our data is getting generated, we will keep on making entries into the meta server. So uh, for example, this here you can see the three different entries. So for example, when the first warehouse gets the first data, here you see that I have an entity of type raw data, and I have shown that its name is bill input. So all the bills that were input, say at by somebody, then location, where are all those bills in some HDFS, because there can be many bills, and then what is the format of this report. So here if you see, it can be bill number to company, like which bill correspond to which company. So second entity, so when it will be processed by the report, it will generate a new entity. So it will have like warehouse report, and it is like of the order, like which company, how much order was coming from which company. So we are here showing that this report is saved at a certain location, specifying the location and what are the columns that are present in that report. So moving forward, similarly, the other, that head office, they might be trying to predict the revenue for each company. So where that data was saved and what was the things that were there in the column. So that's why, because we have the column details, even after a year we will be able to understand what was written there in the data. And to create each of these entities, we can create a post request, and I have given the syntax. You can see the syntax here, and how to create entities. You can create a separate type file, a JSON file for each of them, or can do it in a single one, and hence marking the entity into the system. So we will create the processes also. I think I have displayed it in the other order. We should create the entries for the processes first. So here if you see, I am telling that you have to create a entity of type warehouse process, which is a query is called create data. Perforce version is 1, because we know that over the time the query might evolve, and it is part of ABC Soft, some company. So as you can see, consequently in each of the processes we know that what is the name of the query that is doing that process, what is the version of the query, and which tool does this query run on. So in case of branch office, it is MySQL, and in case of head office, it is MS SQL 2000. And the reason of Perforce version is because now if the query keeps on evolving, we will know that which Perforce version does this correspond to, as our process keeps on uh, modifying. And you can use the similar query as previous to create the entities for them. So now, coming to a main point, that we thought that okay, these are the basic things that were supported by Atlas, but how, another important thing that Atlas does is all the entity defs of type process, they give us two default attributes that are called inputs and outputs. So where we can specify that which was the input to the certain process and what was the output of the certain process. So if you remember the example for warehouse process, so now we can say that the bill input was the entity that was taken as input by this warehouse process, and company order was produced as output. So then we can issue a put statement where input will be the GUI ID of the bill input data set that we created. So this is the syntax in like a dictionary, where we give the GUI ID, then give the type name, and then we can associate a process, like what was the output of that process. That was the company order entity that was created. So we can put the output array as that new data set that was created. So if you see, so then we will do the similar process on the next entity, right? Like the headquarter or the branch office. So if we keep on moving, so we can now see the entire lineage, that how the raw data that we took, how it would transformed into one entry, then transformed into newer entry. This will be the entire journey. And if somehow we modified the process, I move to a newer version of the query, then we should update the version field of the corresponding, for example, where has process dot version to something. So that's why we will understand the newer data that was created by a newer version of the process. So that's how overall things will happen over time. So that's all I had for this video. Uh, Thanks for viewing this. Next time, most probably I'll be covering relations and some other related attributes. Please like, share this video, and if you have any questions, uh, please put them as comments. I'll try to answer them as much as possible. Thank you guys.